And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line here on Thursday edition, shortened Thursday edition. Juju's going to join me on a pre-recorded interview here in just a few minutes. Glad to have you along. Guess just need to kind of go over the basic news from yesterday. Juju and I will talk with it as well. Baseball news yesterday. You don't usually see that, but had a lot of baseball news going on yesterday. Aaron Judge signs a amazing 9-year, $360 million contract. I don't see how he's going to be able to produce and make it worth that. Now, maybe it's just me, but I just I don't see how he gets that done. I don't see how it's good for the Yankees. I'll talk to Juju about that just a little bit. See if there's any other breaking news I need to get to here this morning. I mentioned this with Juju also. Completely lost my train of thought here. Struggling today for some reason. May has decided, Drake May, there were some rumors going around. I never saw the rumors, so I can't really comment on them, that he would be hitting the transfer portal, but that's not going to be the case. He will be at Carolina next year, and I'm sure he'll probably declare for the NFL draft after that. Outside chance Jimmy Garoppolo returns. Von Miller has a torn ACL. He's out for the rest of the year. The Titans fired their GM. Very, very unusual for that to happen in the middle of the season as far as the GM is concerned. From what I heard yesterday, and this was just, I guess, listening to the talking heads, so to speak, they were talking about the previous general manager was a defensive line guy, and the defense was pretty darn good for the Titans, but the offense was not. They're still running Derrick Henry downhill, which you just don't do in today's NFL. Also, Richie mentioned Phil Longo left Carolina last night to go to Wisconsin to be the offensive coordinator up there. A lot of moving pieces go on. Deion's picked up some new things and new assistants as well, so we'll kind of see how that goes. I don't know that Deion's going to be spectacular next year, but I think Deion will make a difference. I think he'll make a difference once he gets things set up. Mike Vrabel, the general manager was John Robinson, was fired, and they've seen that the defensive side of the ball was pretty solid, but you got to have a GM that knows how to build both sides of the ball, not just what they do. Sometimes they're starting to go a little bit more with analyst-type folks because they'll have a more, I guess, rounded opinion of things that are out there and things that are going on. Let's see what else we got here. Can't get my computer to coordinate with or cooperate with me here this morning. Come on. There we go. Jared Goff said feels like he's playing the best football of his career. The Rams are unsure if Mayfield will play against the Raiders on Sunday. Bengals running back Mixon will start when cleared to play. And I'm not sure on this one. I saw the story, but that's not ringing a bell with me. Panthers' Henry Anderson had stroke in October. Defensive end Henry Anderson was home with his wife when his legs and arms went numb and his speech became blurred. It was a stroke, so it's basically like a blood clot in your brain. Now you're starting to wonder, does the CTE, do the concussions come into play? Countless tests with medical experts locally and nationally, they couldn't determine what caused it. Welcome to the club. Panthers on Wednesday opened his 21-day window to return from the NFL's non-football illness list. Not sure that that's a clear classification there. He hadn't revealed why he had been out until Wednesday and had no hesitation about playing. He said, I'm a football player. If I'm cleared to play, I want to be out there and play football because that's what I love to do. I've been injured several times throughout my career. It's always kind of overwhelming when you're injured and not with the team. So the doctors say I'm good to go and I've got clearance. I want to get back out there with my guys and play it with my brothers. Hope that he'll be available Sunday against the Seahawks. The Panthers are 2 games out of first place behind Tampa, and that is sad. Panthers at 4-8, 2 games out. That means they've got 5 left. If they ran a table 9-8, just don't see that happening. Let's see. Anderson was a third-round pick by the Colts back in 2015. In the world of college football, not a whole lot going on. Some moving around, as I said, with I guess with coaches. It's that time of year. Not a whole lot going on. Bowl games don't matter. Even playoffs. You've got Kevin Wilson, offensive coordinator at Ohio State, moving on to Tulsa. I haven't seen the story, but I think he's going to stay on through their playoff run, if I'm not mistaken. Outgoing NCAA President Mark Emmert had some advice for his replacement. He's stepping down after 12 years. The job requires a lot of patience, requires a lot of tolerance for ambiguity, and it's got a lot of moving parts because of the scale of the operation. The biggest thing that's happened with the NCAA is they have no real power, none at all. For remember, Go Mickey Mouse, live on the way to Animal Kingdom. Good for you. Tell Mickey I said hey if he asks about me. Looks like Brom to Louisville is a done deal. Word is that Jim Leonard, former defensive coordinator for Wisconsin, will be the head coach at Purdue. Brom is currently the head coach at Purdue. He's going to Louisville. Scott Satterfield left Louisville to go to Cincinnati. So a lot of moving pieces and things switching around everywhere. That's kind of the way this business works. In case you wasn't aware of it, it's a lot of moving parts when it comes to coaches and players, and especially like with the transfer portal, that even muddies the water even more. Let me take a quick time out. We come back. Juju will join us on the other side.
That hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Foggy. Don't know where the fog comes from, except that's kind of the way it works in North Carolina in the wintertime. Rainy, cold, foggy, but we've got somebody that will brighten our morning up, Mr. Juju Phillips. Good morning, sir.
Lanny, just call me Mr. Sunshine. Always a pleasure.
That is you, Mr. Sunshine. A couple things that have happened since we've talked. How about Aaron Judge, 9 years, $360 million?
Yeah, it's a lot of money. He had a record season if you follow baseball, and he had the kind of season that hardly anybody has ever had before in the history of baseball. He had 60-some home runs, and he put together one season. He was basically a free agent going into the season, and he kind of bet on himself. The Yankees offered him before the season. He said, no, thank you. I'm going to go out and have a good season and put myself out there on the open market. And he did. And there were a couple of other teams there that gave him as much money or more than what the Yankees offered. The Yankees swooped in at the last minute and re-signed him for a big contract like that. Probably a guy, if there's very few baseball players out there, probably a guy that's worth it, because what he does and his presence with the New York Yankees, 6'8", 290 pounds, and a slugger. The one thing about it, he gets 9 years and all that money. He's 31, and when he gets done with the contract, if he gets done, he'll be 40 years old. 6'8" baseball players definitely don't go and play baseball that long and that effective. So it's good for the Yankees. I don't think it's good for baseball, in my opinion, because baseball still has a problem with its economics. There are only about a half a dozen teams that really they care about. Those are the big market teams. Yankees are one of them. The other teams that can't afford that kind of money, they simply go by the wayside, and they become minor league teams for the big market teams. But if you're a Yankees fan, and there are a lot of them around the country, then it's good for them that they've re-signed their star player.
Is that as important, more important, less important than winning a World Series? I believe it's been 13 years since the Yankees have had a sniff at that. Are you okay with paying these big name stars that you want to go see play? Is that really what your fan base wants, you think?
I think the fan base wanted. Again, we're not up there, but I would guess if I were a Yankees fan, I would feel worse if they let him go to another team. Okay. I think they probably, and the owner, Hal Steinbrenner, who's the second-generation Steinbrenner, I'm guessing if they'd have let him go, he'd have caught, from Yankee fans. And so it's better to have him on board and now try to rebuild and win a championship than not having him at all and have to start from scratch and have to hear from the fans and say, hey, how come you couldn't sign Aaron Judge? He went to the San Francisco Giants or the San Diego Padres or, God forbid, the Boston Red Sox, something like that. But to have him sign, they're probably not going to catch as much as opposed to if he signed elsewhere and they were left holding the bag. And I'm sure their fans would have really, really protested the fact that they couldn't re-sign Aaron Judge, because after all, the Yankees can throw as much money out there as anybody. So if they can't re-sign one of their star players, then they're not trying to win.
So I'll go back and rephrase my question. So is this about ticket sales and that type of thing more so than winning a World Series, or could the Yankees – do the Yankees feel like they can't win a World Series without Aaron Judge?
I think they can't win a World Series without Aaron Judge.
Okay, but not just Aaron Judge. He's not enough.
No.
Okay.
No, he's not enough. They need to fix up their pitching, their starting pitching, and they re-signed some other guys to a lot of money too. But it helps when in terms of the financial dollars that they can charge more money to their cable network. They can sell more, obviously more tickets. They can sell more merchandise. Every time you go around, you always see stuff. If you ever watch highlights of the Yankees games, you always see kids and even adults wearing those jerseys, number 99, and that's his number. So I'm sure they'll sell more of those numbers as well, or those jerseys. So, yeah, I think it's a win-win for both. It's just that when now that the Yankees haven't won in so long, Judge didn't have a particularly good struggled in the postseason. So this money signed, it's not for him to have a great regular season. It's for him to win in the postseason and get a chance to go to the World Series.
Okay, let me switch gears to you. Drake May, top prospect in college football entering the 2023 season, announced Wednesday night on social media that he will be playing his junior year at North Carolina. I had not seen any of these quote-unquote reports that he may enter the portal. Now, there were reports that said that he could enter the portal, but even if I had seen it, I would have kind of laughed it off because the family ties there are too great for him to do that after 2 years. Now, question to you is, he kind of got exposed in the Clemson game. Either it was him or his offensive line, and a lot of folks are thinking that May and Southern Cal's Caleb Williams will be the consensus favorites to go number one in the NFL draft. I kind of get aggravated and frustrated because I think we've got another college football season to play before we get there, but that doesn't seem to concern anybody.
It's good for publicity. I think probably, as for the announcement last night, it's probably in response to the news that the Tar Heels lost their offensive coordinator.
And I was going to ask you about that. What does that do?
Well, that's going to put their offense, Phil Longo going to Wisconsin of all places, to join up with Luke Fickell, running the kind of offense that the Tar Heels have run under Longo in the last few years. Going to be a little bit different running that offense in Madison, Wisconsin, when it's 20 degrees and winds blowing and it's snowing in November in or late October. But that's going to definitely affect. I think because of this transfer portal, Lanny, there were all kind of reports of all these guys. We've talked about it Monday. A lot of these quarterbacks just leaving, announcing their names, they're going into portal. And I even listened to a Charlotte radio station on my way back from school yesterday, and they were, and Monday morning, they were promoting the fact that Alabama put his name in the transfer portal. They were speculating and saying that because of Alabama's going to put their tentacles out there, and that they would go after Drake May. They have more weapons. They have a better deal. Who knows? But you're right. I think Drake May's probably pretty happy where he's at right now, and maybe is not thinking about all the other side benefits, so to speak. He's going to stay in North Carolina. The big question is who's going to run that offense? Because certainly Mac Brown's not going to run it, so he's got to bring in an offensive coordinator. And Phil Longo did a pretty good job, but again, Drake May had a good season, fantastic year against a lot of average to mediocre defenses in the ACC.
Well, he also was to be the mastermind of and how Sam Howell was going to do. And to me, I wasn't impressed with Sam Howell that much in college, and then he's really done nothing when he got to the pros, and he was supposed to be another one of those that stepped in and was a typical or prototypical NFL quarterback.
Well, Sam Howell's probably he was a really outstanding college football player. The Tar Heels, his junior year when they won a bunch of games, they had a really good, strong running back, 2 running backs and a good running attack. And they just didn't have that this year. I mean, when you're a quarterback, redshirt freshman is your leading rusher along with your leading passer. Well, they didn't have a running game. And now they're going to have to go and start all over again with a different coordinator and go out and do some recruiting. You know, it's one thing this transfer portal has done, Lanny. It's forced coaches and programs to not only recruit a kid to come to your school, you got to recruit the kid to stay there.
Yeah.
To keep him there.
Now you do.
Now you do. So it's going to be difficult. And maybe there was some pressure from outside of schools. Maybe they contacted Drake May and said, hey, come on and join with us. And he wanted to put it out there that he's going to stay put. So who knows what's going on behind the scenes. It's wild and wacky out there. And hold on, maybe buckle your seats.
Yeah, because the other thing's going on, of course, Primetime has gone to the Colorado Buffaloes, and he's putting together, I'm not going to say a national who's who, but he's taking some pretty good coaches and bringing them in to start building his staff. He's wasting no time. He brought in Kent State's Lewis. Coach Lewis, head coach, came to be offensive coordinator with Colorado, and now associate defensive coordinator and safeties coach Charles Kelly, who spent 4 years at Alabama, is going to join Colorado as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting guys that have been kind of assistant coaches, some younger guys that are hungry and want to join, with the program there. He's not gotten, I can maybe give him credit, he's not went out and tried to pick up guys that are retreads, the guys that have been head coaches before, or guys that are named coaches in college football or even in the NFL, and to come on board. Now, he still may do that, but I think it's going to be more difficult to win at Colorado in the Big 12 than it was at Jackson State. I agree. It's going to be hard to recruit those kids to come to play at Colorado. Now, he's going to have to obviously charm a lot of kids, and he has that personality, Coach Prime does. But I think it's harder to win because they haven't won in 2 decades? Mm-hmm. It's going to be very difficult to win at Colorado. But, again, if anybody can do it, maybe it's Deion Sanders.
Yeah. What you got on your plate, sir?
Wanted to mention, I posted something on Facebook. Again, it's basketball season. It's early. It's 9 games into the season, but the women's basketball program at LR is off to its best start in school history. One of the best starts. They're 9-0. They're ranked 9th in the country. That's the highest they've ever been ranked before. And so somebody asked me the other day, I was over near the college, and they said, why is the women's program doing so well? And I went and did some checking, Lanny. A couple of years ago, they were sued. The basketball program was sued for $24 million, claiming racism within the ranks. They had a bunch of players sue the college and sue the coach and the president. That has gone by the wayside. I'm sure something happened, behind the scenes, and they made that go away. But they were not very good on the court the last couple of years. They only won 6 games in 2020. In 2021, I believe, in 2022, they won 10 or 11 games. But what do they do to go? And they've already won 9-0. They beat a Division I team in UNC Wilmington. They upset number 20 ranked Wingate a couple of weeks ago. So what are they doing? So I went and checked and talked to some people. They went through the transfer portal. The women's team's got 16 players on the squad, 8 of which are transfers. So they went out and did the quick fix, and it has worked for their coach, Graham Smith. But they've got some ladies that are playing basketball at different levels, Division I, Division II, even Division III, to come and transfer to LR. And it's worked so far. They're off to a 9-0 start, so congratulations to the Lady Bears of LR for doing that. But that has been the one story that I've been following local, Lanny, in terms of basketball going on right now.
Well, and I'm okay with the quick fix when you got to get things started. UNC Charlotte 49ers did the same thing when they started their football program. They kind of mixed it with transfers and those kind of things to get the program so you could kind of even out the recruiting. And basically they're kind of having to start over with the women's basketball in Orion because of what happened. So I'm okay with that. Be interesting to see how it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's easier probably to rebuild a program with transfers in basketball than it is obviously in football and sustain it. Like you said, Michigan State did it a couple of years ago when they won a bunch of games and their coach got a brand new contract and fell on their face this year. Won 4 or 5 games, and it may be something like that. But it's one thing to go out, and I'm almost of the belief of some coaches, including Mike Jacobs, who we've had on the show a lot, saying that it's good to go out and dabble in the transfer portal and bring in guys to fill certain positions and certain needs. But it's not, you don't want to overhaul your roster with transfers. Now, some schools are better at it. Schools can do it more than the private schools. West Florida did it in 2019. They won a national championship with 51 transfers. This is before the transfer portal even became popular. Well, they're playing football. They'll play this weekend. Again, they got a lot of transfers. I think the last count that I saw, 38. So, and with a different quarterback who was a transfer. So they're doing it. They can do it because it's a lot easier than a private school. But again, I don't know if that's a great formula for success long term to use the transfer portal as your means to pick up, to put your roster together.
All right, sir. What else you got? Anything?
That is it, my friend.
I'm going to trivia question you just a little bit here.
Okay.
Talking about those Colorado Buffaloes, can you name any famous, notable Colorado Buffaloes to make it in the pros?
I can.
Okay.
I can. They had a Heisman Trophy winner, right? They had a Raheem Salim or whatever his name was. He was a running back. Cordell Stewart, Slash, quarterback with the Steelers for a long time.
Yep.
Eric Bieniemy, running back, who's the offensive coordinator for Kansas City. And let's see, other Colorado players. Chad Brown, linebacker with the Steelers. I'm sticking with the Steelers guys that I know that are linebackers. Clark Higgins was a linebacker, played at Colorado. Those are the ones off the top of my head. But the one that sticks out to me, they had a wide receiver, Charles Edwards. Last name was Edwards. Again, a Steelers draft pick, played at Colorado. Charles Johnson, maybe that his name was. But they haven't had a lot of great players down through the years, at least the last 20 years. But those are the ones that come off the top of my head.
Do you remember Dick Anderson played for the Dolphins on that undefeated team?
No, yeah, I didn't know he went to Colorado.
Yes, he went to Colorado. Sure did. Another one, Bobby Anderson, went to the Broncos. One of the most famous brother duos. It was Dick's brother. Didn't know if you knew that.
Didn't know that.
And Rashid Salam is who you're thinking about. Played 92 to 94. Yes. And there was a runner-up Heisman that was Whizzer White, Byron White.
I should have known that.
Back in the 30s. But you know who the most famous Colorado Buffalo football player to me is?
Who?
Not an exceptional NFL career. Big Van Vader, the wrestler. Leon White. Leon White. And he played a little both sides. He played some he was a top recruit at center, went to Colorado, and actually spent most of his life there, was born in Southern California, but spent most of his life, and that's where he passed away, was in Boulder. But to me, he's one just because of the personality of Big Van Vader. But yeah, he was a two-way player for the Buffaloes for a little while. He had to retire after 1 year. Got drafted by the Rams. The Rams went to the Super Bowl. This would have been early '80s. Rams got beaten in the Super Bowl, but had an NFC Championship ring, and then had to retire based from a ruptured patella. He had a lot of knee issues, which a lot of big boys do.
You know, another guy that played at Colorado was a guy that was a broadcaster. I remember him as a broadcaster when we were growing up in the 70s, Tom Brookshire.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I remember well.
Yeah. I believe he was a Colorado Buff, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. They had another guy that was a defensive back in the 80s, played with Denver. Haynes. Was there a Mark Haynes? So I think he was another Colorado Buffalo, I believe.
Okay. Tom Brookshire, Thomas Jefferson Brookshire, cornerback. He passed away in Wynwood, Pennsylvania. He played at Colorado. Do you know where he went to high school?
somewhere in Pennsylvania, I'm sure.
Nope. He was actually born in New Mexico and attended Roswell High School in New Mexico, home of the UFOs.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
And the last Colorado Buffalo that I remember was an old wide receiver with the Green Bay Packers back during their heydays in the 60s, number 86, I think, Boyd Dowler, or 84. I'm not sure which one. Boyd Dowler was a wide receiver with the Green Bay Packers. He, I think, was a Colorado Buffalo. And also, I think he just went in the Hall of Fame. There's a guy that was a Oakland Raiders back in the 70s. Speedster, wore number 21. You know his name?
No.
Cliff Branch.
Cliff Branch. I did not know that. Boyd Dowler did play at Colorado. He was born and played football in Cheyenne, Wyoming. He's 85 years young and still with us.
Good for him.
Yep. All right.
Good for him.
Interesting day today, sir. Thank you so much for the time.
You're certainly welcome. We go down. A friend of mine told me that she was listening to the show Monday night, and she said, "You guys are it's like a gossip show. But it's about sports. Sports and gossip."
All right, now let me tell you where that came from. Okay, I got a good friend, and you'll know him, Charles Arbuckle. Charles played at UCLA, played at Indianapolis. A good friend, still does broadcast work with ESPN. And Charles always had this concept, and it's kind of the same thing. He called it the barbershop. You know, when you go in to get a haircut, and a bunch of guys sitting around, it's just whatever topic comes up, you go down that rabbit hole, and that's kind of what we do. It's just free-flowing. It's not predetermined. We're not trying to steer you in any direction, but if we get fascinated by something, you know, it is kind of it creates itself, and that's where it's all natural.
Need to start a network called Barbershop Radio.
Barbershop Radio. There you go. Speaking of barbershop, I got to get a haircut. Mine's too long.
Yeah, right.
Have a good day, sir. We'll do it again Monday night.
Absolutely, and as always, I appreciate you having me on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy. We'll take a time out and back in a moment.